Okay, so episode 2. Oh, so they're like training me, to be the guy, and uh, and then like these people are morons. It's like, I straight up told them, it's like, well, if you do what I tell you to do, we can work on something, but I'm not answering to you clowns. And they're like, well, they didn't like that because their whole thing is status, you know. And well, like I was saying, I was born on February 3rd, 1959, in the bloodiest battlefield of Europe, Verdun. My father was in the military. My last name is Fontaine, which is French. So I was born on familial soil. And they send him overseas, like, because I was born on I had to be born on February 3rd, even if I wasn't born on February, because the whole thing, it's like you're conceived. I was conceived in Beltane on May 3rd. It's like a really important satanic, cult uh, date, and and uh, and then born on February 3rd, and during Imbolc, 9 months later, another cult, a very important cult date. It's when the lambs are born, and the sheep's milk begins to flow, and the people are like all hungry. It's been winter, and they're like, oh man, the baby, the lambs are being born, which means the sheep are producing milk. So they got to feed the little baby lambs, but they take a little bit of that milk for themselves. So it's like a festival of the lambs and stuff. Well, it's also like Groundhog's Day, which is February 2nd. And then, like, the day after, it's like in the movie Groundhog's Day, when he finally wakes up, when Bill Murray finally wakes up and he's done broke free of Groundhog's Day. That's the day he wakes up, looks out the window, and there's snow everywhere, and he's like, come on, girl I fell in love with, let's go play in the snow, and like, because that's February 3rd. But the story goes back to the hag who live off in the woods, and on February 2nd, if she's out chopping wood, if the sun's out and she's chopping wood, it's because she doesn't have enough firewood to get through the winter, and she's chopping the extra because it's going to be a long winter. It's going to be longer. She's got enough firewood to get her through 6 weeks. And if it's rainy, if she's rainy, it's because she stayed in and slept. Because spring's going to be early, it's going to be within 6 weeks, and she's got enough firewood to heck with it. Called the Kalich, the hag Kalich. And so then they send the parents, like, to Verdun, or they sent us to Verdun, so that it stationed my father there, so that whether I was born on February 3rd or not, they could say I was, because that's when like, that's the way the royal cults used to do it. They'd fake it. It's like, if we need this little royal mother, a real little royal dude to be born on a certain date so he can be deified and, get more gold for the family than if he was born on, some days after or some days before. Like, the conception is in a ritual. Like the way they used to, everybody, the whole town would come out and watch the king knock up his wife. Well, I mean, the royal court will be standing in the bedroom while he had sex with her, watching, so that they knew that it's like they didn't have a DNA test back then. So it's like, so the royal court knew the kid was from the legitimate queen and king. And so, but anyway, but they would have, they do the ritual on May 3rd in Beltane. And then like if I was going to be born late, no worries, because see, if you're back around the family's going to be like, oh, they're like, why didn't you, like, they're going to be there, they're going to be in the middle of it all, so you can't fake it. So traditionally they go away to have the baby. They do the birth. They do the conception in front of their cult, and like everybody's in their hoods with their candles and they're chanting and satanic shit and stuff, and then and so everybody knows, like this, and then they all wait. They go, oh, she's pregnant. She didn't have her period, and then she starts getting big. So everybody's like, okay, this is going to be the son of Satan, It's like, but to be like the son of Satan, you gotta be born on the date too, on the right date. So they go away. So anyway, and then the bloodiest battlefield, and then the day the music died. See, that's the thing. You have to look at the day the music died. The plane crash of Buddy Holly. The Big Bopper, and the JP, the Big Bopper Richardson, and Richie Valens. Buddy, that was rock and roll. That was the new rock and roll. It was like rock and roll was becoming a thing big time on these guys' back, and then they all went down in this plane crash as the same day I was born. And then now if you go in, and then the song is like Don McLean, When I Was Growing Up. This is a big song, American Pie from 1971. Bye bye, Miss American Pie, go my Chevy to the levee, cause the levee was dry, but it's like the day the music died, which is about that plane wreck, and it's like 71, the 60s of the British rock invasion has happened. The 60s, the rock and roll went from being just a fun, wonderful Friday night, Saturday night dancing and something to listen to during the work week, and it went into all this freaky, hippie, Woodstock counterculture, British rock invasion, the Beatles, they had the Beatles and their Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and saying they were bigger than Jesus, and they get all called, they came in all like, rock and roll 50s. And then they turned into a bunch of hippies and Woodstock and the whole counterculture movement. Now, if you go look up Laurel Canyon, it's over the last so many years, there's been a lot of people talking about Laurel Canyon and the CIA being behind like all this rock music talent that was at Woodstock that was like the forefront of the countercultural revolution that screwed up the country, or sort of. I mean, it's all screwed up anyway. But that only happened in those sequence of events because of what happened on February 3rd, 1959. Leaving a big vacuum in rock and roll that was then, it's like, that's what they do, is they take something that's, oh, look, if everybody loves rock and roll, we need to take it over and make it ours. It's 10 minutes have gone by. It's time to stop.